Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you all here at the UNF's IS conference, second annual one. So thank you all for being here. And why are we here? Because we're teachers, and we're looking at new ways to be able to get our information into our students' heads. Yes, we're academics, we're researchers, we're scientists. We like to think that we're explorers in our own disciplines. But at the core, we are teachers. We want our students to know what it is that we know and be as excited about what we do as we are. So that is our core. That's what we are here for. I have recently realized, unfortunately, this was actually yesterday, that who here remembers the show The Paper Chase? I loved that show. The Paper Chase is the reason why I wanted to go to college. I was young, I didn't know what college was. I did not know that that was Harvard Law School. But I knew that I wanted to learn in that kind of a setting, that face-to-face interaction. Professor Kingsley and the Kingsfield and the Socratic method. I know that I wanted to do that. I wanted to be part of that. However, our students today want more options than that. They want more options than the lecture hall. They want to be able to take classes all online, some hybrid. I personally think it has something to do with them not seeing the Paper Chase. I had one student in class yesterday, he even knew what it was. So they never really got to see Professor Kingsfield being able to make students shake in their seats with his little Socratic method. So that is my point of view on why I wanted to go to college. Students today, they want all these options. And how do we deliver these options? It's a very different method from being face-to-face with the students and being able to see them get it. We all know that when they get it, versus online when we can't see them anymore. They're behind a computer screen. So one way that we do this in the traditional method is in our office hours. We're able to give them feedback. This feedback, at times, can be very detailed. I have had students come into my office hours before, and on one of their papers, they write a paper, and they come back, and one student has actually had me go line by line with them through their paper to not only understand the content, but all of their grammatical errors and everything else. And in the traditional sense, we can do that. It's very easy. However, when we have these online classes or the distance learning classes, it's more difficult. Compound that with being the student on the other end. You are nothing but the mean grader on the other side of this computer screen that's not giving them any feedback. We have all experienced that. So what I want to do today is go through a different feedback mechanism. It's a tool that I use that helps students understand how they're doing with their writing, how well they're understanding the concepts, and it also gives me a personality. It makes them realize that I'm a real person on the other side of that computer screen. One person in the room I know has received this kind of feedback. And that also helps with my evaluations. Recently, you all know that the Board of Governors has really tried to push all higher education institutes in Florida to really try and adopt more online technologies. And in addition to that, one of the ways that we are evaluated in our employment is through our student evaluation. So we need to find a way to be more personalized to these students who are only seeing us online through the distance learning or through hybrid classes, but I also use this in my regular classes as well because we all know students don't tend to rush and have a line outside the door for office hours, unfortunately. So what is a way that we can reduce the stress on students and us? Who here has ever tried to, we've tried to figure out why students aren't getting what we're saying? Like, we're writing the comments, and we use the Croc Doc and Blackboard, and we have this stuff typed up. We have it highlighted, underlined, crossed out, and it makes perfect sense to us, and next paper comes in, and still nothing. And we don't really know why. I have found that when I use this tool, students get it. I have students who just, they take the time, and this is something that is unique, they take the time to tell me thank you for the amount of feedback I give them because they are now able to produce the products that I'm looking for. And that's fun. So what is this tool? I personally use Screencast-O-Matic. Now, there are a bunch of different software tools out there that you could use. I use Screencast-O-Matic. So whoever here has had students submit their papers through Blackboard electronically, how it is the paper shows up on the screen, and what I do is I highlight the paper, the mistakes in the paper. This is I didn't want to put a student paper up here, so this is just one of my manuscripts, so I just highlighted some stuff. But if this were a student paper, I highlight some comments, and as I read through it, I completely read through it with the highlights, and then I open up Screencast-O-Matic, and I select the part on the screen where their paper is, and I walk through and I talk to them why this is highlighted, how to correct this citation, why this is grammatically incorrect, so restrictive versus unrestrictive clauses, when to use that, when to use who, all of that stuff, because that really polishes their abilities and their writing skills to be able to get to their ultimate goal. And why are they all here? They're here to get a job. To get that job, they need to be able to really nail that cover letter, because without that cover letter, they don't get the interview that gets them the job. So not only do I want them to understand why public administration and nonprofit administration are really cool, bureaucracy is cool, yes, and they agree with me by the time the class is done. So not only do I want them to understand that and be more engaged in their communities, I also want them to be able to write well. And I want them to succeed. So the use of Screencast-O-Matic gives me a personality. It lets them hear what they're doing wrong. It lets them improve on their skills for their next paper. All my students do at least 2 papers, 2 short papers. That's the undergraduates and more for the graduate students. I have seen that over time, after they get their first comments, their videotaped comments, the next paper is better. And for the graduate students, the final one is even better. The downside for us, on our end, it's a lot of talking. Sometimes the video clips last anywhere from a really good paper, 2-3 minutes, really bad paper, lots of, like almost a line by line, this can go up to 10 to 15 minutes. I've never had one student have 2 videos that lasted 10 to 15 minutes. So for us, it's a lot of work up front. But we're academics, we're researchers. We know what it's like to do a lot of work up front to get to a 30-page manuscript 2 years later that may or may not be accepted. So we're used to this. It helps our students. It helps reduce the confusion. It helps to reduce the tension on the student side as well as our side. So yes, we're academics, we're researchers, we're scientists, and we're teachers, and we really want our students to succeed out there. One of the ways that we can do this, have more impact not only on our disciplines and on the community, but on our students who will have that ripple effect throughout everybody that they interact with, is to be able to provide them with the feedback they need to be successful. And that's why we're here, because we're teachers. Thank you. And as you know, or may not know, cats are one of the most sought after thing on the internet. And so everybody loves cats. So those are my cats. And they hang out with me while I do Screencast-O-Matic, and you see the microphone there. And those are my 2 of the cats.